The critically acclaimed Super Mario Odyssey was just released on the Nintendo Switch last year, but despite the large amount of content within the game, some fans still want more. Many fans think that downloadable content is going to be added to Super Mario Odyssey, while others believe that we're going to be getting an entire sequel to the game, and that possibility is what I'm going to be speculating about today. Will we get a Super Mario Odyssey 2? I'm going to try to provide 3 reasons why we could get one in this video, but I'm not entirely sure that we will, so I'm going to try to provide some reasons against it as well. Of course, I would love a Super Mario Odyssey 2 to release. Because I loved the content in Super Mario Odyssey, I would surely love the content in a follow-up game to it, but really, how likely is that to happen? In my previous video, I went over the possibility of a Super Mario Galaxy 3, and I find that has a similar likelihood to Odyssey 2. So if you don't really think that a Galaxy 3 could happen, probably an Odyssey 2 wouldn't happen either. But here's the first reason why I think Nintendo would be interested in making a Super Mario Odyssey 2, and it's because of the character that they created, Cappy. Cappy is a character that fans love. He's almost universally loved, in fact, and I think he could definitely be used again in a full-fledged adventure. I can't really see Cappy being implemented into any other type of main Mario game other than one that takes place in the world within Super Mario Odyssey, just because of how the game displays the character and makes Cappy seem unique to that world. The capturing mechanic replaced power-ups for Super Mario Odyssey, and because of how established power-ups are in the Mario universe, I can't see it being a permanent fixture. However, myself and most of the Mario fanbase seems to think that this mechanic went over pretty well, and I would love to see it implemented into another Mario game. However, pretty much any other concept of a mainline Mario title, whether it be 2D or 3D, I can't really see it including Cappy unless it's a sequel of sorts to Super Mario Odyssey. This would be a reason that Nintendo would want to make a sequel to Mario Odyssey so that they could have an entirely new adventure containing Cappy again. Nintendo really only firmly decides that they're going to start working on a game if they have enough new and fresh ideas that they could use, and Cappy could provide a ton of those, especially in combination with the next point. The next reason why Super Mario Odyssey 2 could happen is the many characters and enemies that are well established in the Mario series that weren't included in the game. Boos, Bob-ombs, Shy Guys, Pokies are just some of the main enemies that aren't included in Super Mario Odyssey. I made a video before the release of Super Mario Odyssey speculating about how these enemies would work in the game because I expected them to be included, but they weren't. What if Nintendo was saving some of these primary characters and enemies for the future? What if they were saving them to be used in an entirely new sequel to Super Mario Odyssey? Now again, it is also possible that we could be getting these enemies implemented into downloadable content kingdoms for the game, which I did speculate in another video. Recent updates for Super Mario Odyssey have also sort of supported the DLC idea. Luigi was absent from Super Mario Odyssey when it was initially released, so with the Balloon World update we finally got to see Luigi within this new Mario title, and he doesn't really do anything, so for a Super Mario Odyssey 2 they could implement him. All of the enemies that I just mentioned could be implemented into different unique kingdoms added as paid DLC as opposed to free DLC for the game. As we saw with Splatoon 2, just because you add free DLC after the game's launch doesn't necessarily mean that you are opposed to making an entirely paid DLC pack. However, one reason against having this paid DLC come out for Super Mario Odyssey is, yes, while Splatoon 2 did it, there are other games that were more single-player focused, like Zelda Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that announced that DLC was to be coming before the game was released. Super Mario Odyssey, being a primarily single-player focused experience, would probably have had those DLC kingdoms announced to be coming before the game was released. But then again, because of Splatoon 2, we don't really know. It could still be coming as DLC, and those enemies could be implemented into those DLC kingdoms. However, it does still have the possibility for us getting a Super Mario Odyssey 2. This is definitely a point that makes me waver on what I think here. However, I do believe that a Super Mario Odyssey 2 would also be supported by these enemies because of the new ideas that could be implemented. Having Cappy capture a Boo could provide an entirely different mechanic than we've gotten in previous Mario titles. What if you could capture the Pokey, jump off of it and have its head roll throughout the map. But the final reason that I want to talk about today, and what I believe is the most strong reason, is the sales. As I've explained numerous times throughout my videos, the video game industry is built on sales, not necessarily the enjoyment of the fans, although that does relate to sales. And Super Mario Odyssey, if you haven't heard the news yet, is selling amazingly right now. The best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch, which was released far after some of the older games released on the Nintendo Switch like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Zelda Breath of the Wild. Then again, Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are also playable on the Wii U, so this is kind of more of an exclusive game than those two. Good sales led to the creation of Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's the main reason that that game was made in the first place. We wouldn't have gotten to experience many more great levels from the Galaxy universe if it wasn't for Galaxy 1 selling great. And sales is a reason that I pointed out in my previous video talking about Galaxy 3, where I believe that the sales would lead to the creation of that game, and it could potentially have a higher sales potential than an Odyssey 2, because Super Mario Odyssey is already released on the Nintendo Switch, whereas the Galaxy game would be a new experience for many fans because maybe they haven't played the original Galaxy games before. However, it wasn't just the sales that was the firm, concrete reason why Galaxy 2 was released. There were also many new gameplay concepts that were implemented into Galaxy 2, and it was stated numerous times by Nintendo that if there wasn't a significant amount of new ideas to be implemented into a Galaxy 2, then they wouldn't have been created. They would have created something else to generate the sales as well. Galaxy 2 changed some main gameplay concepts and also implemented Yoshi, so for Super Mario Odyssey 2, Nintendo would definitely need to have some new ideas. And this relates back to the 2 points that I mentioned before. There are many enemies that could be implemented that would change up the gameplay a little bit, and Cappy could be relating to those enemies to allow you to capture them and allow those new gameplay mechanics to spring forward. Nintendo would definitely also have to create some brand new ideas for Super Mario Odyssey 2 as well. They would have to entirely change how some core concepts of the game worked. One thing that I would like change is I would like less moons to be implemented into the game in favor of different types of challenges being built around the smaller amount of moons that were implemented into the game. There are many moons in Super Mario Odyssey that were just thrown out there in the open. Some of them were just so easy to obtain, in contrast to others which were incredibly fun and difficult to get. This difference is definitely something that bogs down the experience in Super Mario Odyssey, and I would like that changed for an Odyssey 2, but that change wouldn't be the only one that would have to be made for Super Mario Odyssey 2 to be created. A new style and new concepts of gameplay would have to be implemented as well, because Nintendo could also just see the potential for a similar amount of money to be made by adding these downloadable content kingdoms, and with that they wouldn't really have to change the style of Super Mario Odyssey too much. They could keep it a similar style because people already bought the original product because they liked the style of the game. These 3 reasons could lead to the creation of an explicit sequel to Super Mario Odyssey. However, as I mentioned numerous times throughout this video, downloadable content is also likely. What about the third possibility, where we never get to experience anything from this Mario universe ever again? And we could instead get a new 3D Mario game like Super Mario Galaxy 3, for example. Well, that's what I talked about in my previous video, and if you want to check it out, the link's on the screen right now. Remember to subscribe for more content coming about Super Mario Odyssey and other Nintendo games too, coming very soon.